Welcome, Gemini. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do a new moon in Aries reading for you, occurring on the 17th of the month. We're a little ways away, but I do feel the power of multiple Aries planets, including Chiron, which is in a tight conjunction, the wounded healer, pulsating a lot of new year energy for us. So almost reset energy is evident. I pulled from the energy archaeology card the forgiveness, and I'm going to read from the guidebook what this describes. It also labels the patellas, which are ligaments in front of the knee joint that enhance our leverage in our thighs and increase its efficiency along with protecting the knee joint. So I'm going to read this message, move my sticky out of the way here. And when in balance, the keywords are radiating, effusive, and joyful. And the wisdom reads, waiting for something to happen, something to change, or an apology that may never come, binds you to an entangled web of energy, people, and circumstances. The stiffness you feel, the stilted movement, and the blocked path have nothing to do with those people or circumstances and everything to do with what you're willing to carry, whether consciously or unconsciously. Release yourself. Forgiveness may be the hardest work you'll do in your life, but it's also the most liberating. When you sink to the ground in prayer, submission, supplication, or what may feel like defeat, you're placing your patellas on Mama Earth. This grounds you in a deeper elemental container for release and reinforces that forgiveness is the work you don't have to do on your own. The earth will hold you until you can find the strength you need to forgive, rise up, and once again continue on your path. Forgiveness is the most radical act of self-compassion. The trick is to remember the lesson you learned when you were on your knees. I love the references here to praying, meditating, feeling humbled, aligning yourself with the earth, recognizing your humanness, because there is a lot here that comes up with the idea around judgment. So there isn't a surprise in the balance card from the soul's journey. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So yeah, I do feel there is a bit of a tension between this idea of being judged and judging. And the story that emerges from this combination is you're having to make discerning judgments at a very early age regarding what you needed and what you needed to provide to others. This also often describes being a caretaker early in life and the inordinate responsibility that you carried when you really were in a place where you would have been protected. And that these judgments called on a part of you that was available, a wisdom that was available, but it really framed your experience of being in terms of the expectations of others and being judged, others determining your value, your worth, and what was necessary for you to do to demonstrate that. I'm going to read the present card, the Seven of Staffs. And in general, when the cards are face down, that means I haven't seen them. The cards that are face up are cards I've seen and contemplated and meditated on. The Seven of Staffs in your present is describing the effort you're putting into protecting yourself, in having healthy boundaries, in allowing yourself to be who you uniquely are without distraction. This can also be a sense of defensiveness in standing up for yourself. There's a need to push back against something that wants to define you. And that wanting to define you can be your past. That can be memories of the ways in which you were judged and defined, the way in which you were expected to be, the way in which you were expected to behave, or the occupation or skills you were expected to develop. And here you are protecting this evolving sense of the right to be who you are. And clearly you have a whole lot more information about who that self is than you did in the past. But there is something about having to defend yourself that is pulling away some of the energy. It kind of reinforces some of the unjust judgment that you have been privy to in the past. And so here you are trying to make space for you to exercise your talents in a way that is healthy for you, in a way that honors who you are. In the past, the Judgment card. This is obviously kind of overarching theme over this particular energy of the new moon for you. This is about the way that you understand through a decision you've made, through your ability to respond to a call, having identified your purpose. And this isn't a purpose that is new. It quite likely revolved from a past in which you were expected to provide for others. You were expected to lead others, even in a way that was inappropriate for you, particularly if you were a child. But releasing some of that self-judgment, the act of humility, the act of being healed by the earth, the reminders that you are a human being, you are not expected to get everything right, and particularly not right for others all the time, but that it's okay. You're ultimately responsible for yourself, and you are on a threshold, I believe, of being able to activate your purpose in a way that takes on a greater alignment with the support that you have around you. And that support feels ancestral, it feels cultural, it feels like you are in alignment with what has come before, that you are part of a lineage of some kind of social purpose. And in the future, the Lady of Staffs is describing this power and confidence with which you are moving forward this month. And with Aries, there's so much about personal power and new beginnings that is emphasized generally, and you're feeling that boldness in your life. You're seeing it reflected in the universe. The fact that it is the tight conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer, is evidence in the work that you are doing to heal stories about the past. Allowing yourself to liberate yourself from those stories, presuming you have and are learning those lessons. So what I would emphasize here is boldness, certainly standing up for yourself, but not impulsivity. This is not an impulsive energy. This is really grounded in the shift that Uranus is going to be making later in the month into Gemini. So currently it has been in Taurus since 2018 and can represent the ways we have been shaken out of our rigidity, our traditions, our norms, what feels safe, what feels conforming in a lot of ways, and what keeps you in comfort. when that isn't advancing your purpose, your project, your success. I'm going to clarify these cards and invite you, if you're resonating with this reading, to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. Thank you so very much for the support that I receive from all of you regularly. It is very affirming, and I'm very deeply grateful. In the past, the Judgment card is clarified by 2 cards. So we have the Knight of Wands and the 5 of Cups. Yeah, this is really about the old stories, particularly about your relationships, particularly about the disappointments. And they're not always just about relationships, but disappointments, failures, heartbreaks you've experienced. This can be overlooked, giving your all to something and being not chosen. And this is resonating right now. There's a situation in which, despite your commitment or effort, you were not chosen. And that had left you to a place of feeling unmoored, unloved, rejected. And you have been long healing that through your ability to continue your exploration into finding those things that do support you. And this has led you to building up this very healthy, vital relationship with yourself. And that's reflected in the healthy relationships around you. I do believe for many of you, you have significant others that support you, with whom you can work, that are prompting you to move further into your purpose, your independence. And that for you is very important. The independence is what gives you the ability to work with others on the terms of your values and principles. In other words, towards something better, towards improvement, towards a better world or a better life. In the present, we have the 7 of Staffs, and clarified by 2 cards, 1, and Justice pops up, and the Sun. I'm going to take these 2 because they're right on top, and the Ace of Wands, Pentacles rather, why not? This is quite beautiful. So you really are living your best life in many ways right now. You are experiencing the sense of balance in your life with the Justice card. This really encourages you to recognize that the sense of victimhood, even if that victimhood looked like being put in charge of something you were too young to be in charge of. And this is not uncommon in families that are somewhat codependent, where there is some kind of unhealthy addiction or abuse. So it seems as though there was a fair amount of caretaking that occurred, and as a result of that, there was a bit of lock-in, that not being the one who was chosen for the good things in life, but rather the one who was responsible for making sure that others got the good things in life. So this is a balance that you have worked towards evolving within yourself, that you in fact are empowered to pursue the things that you want and to achieve those. And this balance is translating itself into the larger world for you, where being joyful in your life of privilege, abundance, is something that you can share with others, because it has been a journey for you. It hasn't been easy for you to see your life as fulfilled, and you have achieved that, even as you are busy defending that and standing up for yourself. There's also some portal, some activity, some project that is taking you to a place of greater success and achievement, that is allowing you to invite others in as part of a community, a collaboration, a way that you are addressing a collective need for justice, for fair treatment, for balance, and for joy in life. Joy in being exactly who you are, the respect for individual difference, and the understanding that that is leveling. Uh, it's inclusive rather than pushing others away. So the sense of having your own individuality respected is part of this new project, new journey, a new voice, a new story that you're lending to your community. In the future, the Lady of Staffs is clarified by a couple of cards this time, please. Ooh. Okay, I've got two cards, the Page of Cups and the Lovers. So, and the Empress was underneath there, so that is even more beautiful. So this is really emphasizing the empowerment that you feel now in your life, in contrast to the sense of brokenheartedness or disappointment that you have endured. This feels as though part of that journey has been the ability to make good choices for yourself, the ability to recognize matches for who you are, not projects. For some of your most significant connections have been projects, and you have acknowledged that. You had made some kind of spiritual agreement that you would take care of someone who was trying to share their voice, their story with the world. And you allowed yourself, you chose to be the power behind the throne, the muse, whatever way in which you supported someone else to tell their story, not your story. And you're now opening up your creative and imaginative abilities and moving closer to claiming your desire to be the one to create a story, to create a new story, to reset your story. And this is important because it has helped you to level out significant relationships in a way that builds long-term benefit, that recognizes that you have as much claim to creative authority as a partner does, that your independent integrity is what allows you to determine and co-create with others towards projects that are larger than yourselves as individuals. So this is beautiful energy, a beautiful connection with the significant others in your life who are busy, active, promoting something that is world healing. And I know that is significant to you. And really the ability to release yourself, to liberate yourself from a sense of resentment or anger or just exhaustion from being responsible for others has been important. And you have the sunflower, and the key word is assertiveness. Surprise, surprise. Rise up, stand stronger and true. Thank you so much, Aries, for this reading. Until next time, namaste.